Hi everybody, my name is Ben Murtis, and this is probably like the fourth or fifth time I've tried to record this video, so we're just gonna go with this, and I'm gonna upload it, and it's gonna have to be good enough. Uh, I'm excited to finally show you my face. I'm no longer a disembodied spirit that responds to emails every once in a while. This is me. This is your instructor for the class. I'm a graduate student in the anthro department here at OSU, and I'm actually not an archaeologist. I'm a cultural anthropologist, so I deal with living people instead of uh, material remains of the past and dead people. And my focus of research is ecotourism and its impact on environmental preservation and cultural transmission across generations, especially in post-colonial First Nations communities in Canada. So if anybody has an interest in any of those things, I'm happy to talk in detail more. But regarding this course, not only is this your first time taking this course, I guess unless you failed the course, this is my first time teaching it. So we're definitely going to have to work out some of the kinks at the beginning in order to make it run a little bit smoother. And I'm always willing to work with you uh, to work out anything that you might have trouble with, whether it is regarding your mental health or your concerns for the course or anything like that. Basically, as long as you try your best and it seems like you're putting in an effort, I'm never going to penalize you because I don't believe in giving bad grades for the sake of giving bad grades. I think that's just ridiculous. So I definitely appreciate your patience as we try to work out this course. And along those lines, I'm going to try to talk a little bit about the discussion questions, the parts of the discussion kind of in person, because maybe that'll give you a better understanding of what exactly you're supposed to do. Because it seems like there were a lot of people who did the right thing last week, but there were also a lot of emails I got uh, with concerns about what you were supposed to do. So, real quick, I'll just go over all of the steps of the discussion, and hopefully it clears up any confusion you might have. So there are actually four parts of every discussion, and this is kind of how the weeks are structured. They're structured around the discussion, which is based on the reading, which you guys are supposed to do, which is easily accessible via the modules on Carmen. So first you go to the modules and you find the reading for the week, go through the reading, take some notes, and it's usually pretty good practice to go to part 0 of the discussion before you go into the reading so that you can see the questions that you're going to be asked. And you look at the questions, and it helps with active reading. You can go through, see the questions that you need to answer, and sort of be thinking while you're reading about those questions. So part 0, after you're done with the reading, or while you're doing the reading, is the pre-discussion preparation. It requires you to essentially just fill out the answers to the questions that you have after you download the PDF. Part 0 is really pretty straightforward. And it's for your benefit so that you're able to do the actual discussion part more smoothly. But I also take it as a grade. So I'm going to have them due on Fridays, which is before the discussion is finally due. But hopefully they'll be done several days before that so that you can finish the discussion with your groups. So by Friday at midnight, you will have turned in part 0 of the discussions. Part 1 of the discussions are the actual discussions that you have with your group, and it seems like this is kind of where a lot of the confusion was arising, because you need to organize with your group to make sure that you're actively having a discussion. Instead of just basically getting to the end of the week and realizing that nobody has said anything and there's no discussion happening. And I think a lot of the confusion was just because nobody knew exactly where to have these group discussions. So for me, it makes it easier if you have the discussions under the actual part 1 of the discussion in the module, because then I can go into Carmen and see all of the discussions you're actively having without going to your groups. And I can see just basically the replies and the initial posts that everyone does with one another. It's easier for me to do that. However, if you want to have discussions within your own groups and then at the end of the week transfer all of your discussion posts onto part one of the discussion in the module on Carmen, I'm okay with that too, as long as it gets to the point where I can see it and grade it. So it's really up to you whether you want to have the discussions on your own, in your groups, or whether you want to do them just simply under part one of the discussion in the module. It doesn't matter. For these, I'm kind of grading for completion as long as you have an initial post that's kind of more meaty and usually is going to be based on, part 0, the questions that you filled out based on the reading. If you want to hone in on 1 or 2 questions that you're more interested on and just go into those in more detail for your initial post, go right ahead. I'm totally cool with that. If you want to just post all of your questions that you had from part 0 of the reading, you can do that too. As long as you facilitate discussion somehow, it doesn't really matter what your first post is. But the first post is generally going to be a little bit more substantive, and then you're going to be posting based on your group mates' responses and your group mates' original posts. Pick out what you think is interesting about what they said. Pick out, maybe you guys had similar opinions about certain things with your group members, or maybe you disagreed. I mean, kind of just naturally create a discussion based on your opinions, And then after that, by the end of the week, hopefully by Friday at midnight, you'll have finished, sort of wrapped up your discussions, and you will report out. And this is going to be part 2 of the discussion. And not everybody in your group has to do this. Only one person per group per week has to do this. And I think that, like I said before, about half of the groups managed to report out with a summary, which is, for this week it's fine. But for the weeks in the future, I'd like full participation if possible. As long as one person gives me the summary of their group discussion, everybody in your group is going to get credit for that summary. So don't worry if you don't turn in the summary. And by the end of the week, I should have 8 summaries because there are 8 groups. Each group, the person who is going to do the summary will hand it to me through Carmen, and then I can go through and I can look at the summaries of all of your discussions, sort of in a concise form, and I will make a video. And the video will be based on the summary, and also my sorts of opinions of the reading. And this is kind of where I guide everybody through the course, because there's not really a formal lecture component to this course, which I find a little bit difficult because I'm used to lecturing in person. It makes it easier for me, and it makes it easier for me to fix problems sort of on the go as they crop up. It's harder to do that in an online class. But regardless, so I will make a video based on all of your summaries that come into me. And then the final part of every discussion cycle is that you will watch my video the week after all of your discussions happen, and you will make comment, or you won't comment, but rather you will complete kind of like a debrief, and the debrief is just part the part 3, and you can find it in the modules for the week. So for example, for this upcoming week, for tomorrow, you guys will be watching a video that I will make based on the summaries that you gave me, and you will respond to questions in the module based on my video. Now, these questions aren't like yes or no questions. They're not questions that are right or wrong. They're basically just your impressions of the readings for the week, your impressions of my video, my responses to your summaries. And as long as it seems like you gave me a thoughtful response, you get full credit. And those are all of the components of the discussion. And then it happens kind of all over again. And the other thing that I am going to do that I didn't do before is I left Dr. McCorriston's video kind of summarizing the reading last weekend because I thought I was supposed to do that. But now I realized I can make my own. So I'm just going to make my own videos for the readings to begin with. and then I'm going to upload those to Carmen as well. So you guys have kind of a guideline like along the reading so that you're not just kind of going into it blind. And the other thing that I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to create non-mandatory Zoom meetings during my office hours. So if anybody wants to, they can just click the invite, go in and speak to me face to face. If you have any questions, it's really a lot easier to figure out problems person to person rather than over email chains. So I'm going to try to figure out how to do that. Right now, for whatever reason, I'm kind of stuck with the basic Zoom plan, so I can only Zoom for 40 minutes with more than 3 people without it just like shutting off on me. So if I can't figure out how to change that, we'll just have to have 40-minute meetings for the beginning until I figure it out. But hopefully I'll be able to figure that out soon. So that's pretty much it for me. Hopefully that really helps you understand the discussions more. And I am sorry about the rocky start to this class for some of you. And I really hope that you learn a lot from it. And I'm excited to hopefully meet some of you guys face to face later this week. I hope you had a good weekend, and I hope you have an awesome next week. Thank you.